All right, this is going to be the last retrospective reflection video because 2024 was so close. I don't need to reflect on 2024. I'm fairly certain my top 10 from that year is still my top 10. How much could have possibly changed? I might eat my words one day, but it doesn't matter. My channel, my rules. So 2023. 2023 was a big year in so many ways. It was also like very traumatic, but there were a lot of really good things, okay? Really good things. I married my husband. Ryan and I got married in 2023 in Colombia. Amazing. We got our kittens, Kieran and Donna. We bought our house. Very end of 2023, we moved to Ohio from Boston. Like, a lot of big things. Sad things, I lost Delilah. Not my first cat, but like the first cat that was mine. I had her since I was 12. So like, I had her for 19 years. And that was really affecting. And like, I'm not someone who needs to be told, it's okay, pet death is the same as human death. I know. But if you ever feel the weight of a pet death and feel like it's not warranted, no, it can really mess with you. Like, I stopped rating books. Like, I still talk to them with you guys and I give them star ratings and wrap-ups. I couldn't even put in stars in Storygraph. Like, that was a step too far in things I could accomplish. I was just so out of it for almost a year. And Ryan was still unemployed. And so there were a lot of unknowns. And honestly, getting a house is great, but closing on a house is like so stressful. Like, so stressful. But at the same time, the channel was doing some interesting things, which I didn't really realize till I was looking back. So I did 2 Goodreads Choice Award video challenges. So I did one where I was reading all the young adult winners over the years. So I finally caught up on Cassandra Clare. I finally read the Cruel Prince series. That was just a fascinating time for me. And then I read all the fantasy awards that year, which honestly, like, although I won't do that very often anymore because I know it's not like the quality I want, or at least they aren't my taste most of the time. The issue is like, if I hadn't done that challenge, I don't know if I would have read anything the fall of 2023. So in some ways I like that challenge because I was able to feel productive in a way that I think was beneficial to my mental health, even if there weren't wins. I don't even know if I could have found wins. Like, that's just not where my mental health was at the time. Another big thing is I started my author interview series, which I'm slowly creepingly bringing back, but I had 3 author interviews, one with Ken Liu, one with Karen Lord, one with M.A. Carrick, so 4 authors. I loved all of them. And then big reading things, I finished The Wheel of Time, and I finished The Realm of the Elderlings, which is just like, woo! Big ones off the docket. Really enjoyed finishing Realm of the Elderlings, was very exhausted by the end of The Wheel of Time. You know, I have should you reads for both of those if you really want my thoughts. So yeah, let's briefly go through my worst, which, like, here's the thing. Like I said, as I was like literally going through my 2023, I didn't have as many high highs, but I really didn't have as many low lows. I really lived in that 3 to 4 star area. What is happening outside? Sorry about that. My neighbors, they just make noises. They just do. So I only have 4 things that I really want to talk about in my worst section. And 2 of them, it's like, I'm not going to harp on them. I didn't even think they would really be for me, but I was like kind of annoyed with them. One, I don't even think I put in my worst of the year video, but it like actually still actively annoys me. And this is The Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. I wasn't going to read this. I read it for that Goodreads Award challenge. And it's just like, it's such a nothing burger. Like, that entire series is so many pages, and for what? Like, I don't know. It's not bad, but it's not good enough to be 800 pages per book. Like, no. And it annoys me. It annoys me. The other one, it was really interesting. So I read the Cruel Prince series, and I really don't like the Cruel Prince. Like, I really don't. I really like The Prince of Nothing, though. Is that the 3rd book? I think that one was like dark fairy tale coded, so that one was fun. But I don't understand. Like, I think this is when I started to learn that fandoms can create things that aren't on the page. Because the enemies to lovers thing, like, that people eat up, it's like, I don't feel any of the tension on the page. It's just people being mean and people being shifty. And I think, like, that's where, when people talk about things on Tumblr and Instagram, making reels and stuff like that, that's where you can, you know, add in some stuff. And I think that's a very fun part of fandom. It's just, if you're not in the fandom, I just don't think that's actually in the text as strongly. Because I was expecting to like it. But also Holly Black, I think, just like, she almost doesn't use enough words, which is, I know, something we don't say often anymore. But her books are always very short. And I don't feel like pack enough. So yeah, those 2 I wasn't really surprised by. The Witch King is my... It's so weird because, like, in the circles that I run in, Martha Wells is beloved, both for Murderbot, but also for Witch King and a bunch of her other fantasy series. Like, I still need to read, is it the Raraku series or something like that? And I know that part of this was my fault. I was reading it for the Goodreads Choice Award Challenge, and I was reading it when I wasn't in a good headspace, but most of those books got 3 stars, okay? Like, it's not like I was truly giving 1 and 2 stars left and right or anything like that. Like, I'm pretty sure I gave a higher rating to The Unmaking of June Farrow, which I also do not like. But I actively don't like The Witch King. And I think part of it is being mad because it should be for me. Oh, they're speeding off with that car that they had to start because it has to have that starter. That's so loud. I'm not used to having to do cuts anymore, but the neighbors have been particularly loud today. So, like I was saying, it's like, in some ways, I feel like The Witch King should work for me. Like, it's kind of a drop you in the middle of it world building style. I'm known for liking that. That's not a turnoff for me. And it's not a standalone anymore. I guess we have another one coming out. But it's weird. Like, there should be intrigue in the weird. And I read it, and I swear I read it. I don't know what happened in that book. I'm so confused by it consistently. And I'm not dumb. And I know how to read fantasy and science fiction, but for some reason, there is this barrier between me and this book, and I just don't even know what happened. I don't even know. It's like kind of a heist. It's kind of a bunch of people getting together to do a thing, and I don't know what for, and I don't know why, and I don't know how we got where we got. And the fact that I read 400 pages and that's how I feel is frustrating to me. And I know part of it's my fault, but part of it's the book's fault. Like, I can read really convoluted, dense things and still, like, understand it. So I get annoyed at The Witch King, especially because I feel so on the outside, because it got nominated for so many awards, and people are always in my comments saying they love it, and I love that for you, like, truly. I don't think it's objectively bad. You guys know me. That's not how I feel about art. I feel like art is about evoking different emotions in people, and that's, like, the point. If you made art that everyone likes, I think that, I mean, usually that means it's not very compelling art. Usually, you know? It means it's usually too sterile and things like that. But yeah, I just had a problem there. Now, one that I do think is just not very good. Like, I think The Witch King, I can see arguments for it being good. It's just, like, it frustrated me. The Cat Who Saved Books. No. I just don't like this book. I don't like it at all. Maybe I would like an animated movie based off of it. And there's some things I can forgive for translation and cultural translation and things like that. But I still chuckle. I still chuckle sarcastically when I think about how it was telling me how audiobooks are not reading while I listen to the audiobook of this book. I also picked it up when I needed a book about grief and how to get through grief. I was, I think, if not having just lost Delilah, about to lose Delilah. And it didn't help me at all, which, like, obviously that's not a book's job. But I just felt like we weren't even focused on the grief this book. Like, that's why it didn't help me. I felt like the grief was there as a plot device to make it so this boy had to just be in the shop and then things were happening in the shop. But I didn't feel like the adventures he went on were helpful, per se. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is super helpful for some people who are going through moments of grief. But for me, it just felt like weird, whimsical adventures. And, like, about topics that if you're not on the bookish internet, might be novel to you. If you're on the bookish internet, we have tried this ground. It's exhausting. I don't want to have another consumerism talk in my book. I don't want to hear about audiobooks or not reading in my book. Like, it was just so, like, if you're chronically online, as we all are on the bookish internet, this book is just kind of frustrating in my opinion. So those are the ones that were my worst. But again, nothing too bad. And now we're going to do my honorable mentions, and then we'll talk about the top 10. And I'm going to do, my next video is going to be, I think, a tier ranking. And I'm going to have 50 books, and I'll have 5 tiers. And I have to have only 10 books per tier. And I think it's going to blow my brain out. And I'm going to do it on camera, I think. And, like, I haven't decided if I should do it live and then just reveal the top 10 and the whole tier ranking in a video for the channel and do the live with patrons. I don't know. I haven't decided what to do with that. But today we're getting our last group of top 10, and the other top 10 should be my 2024 top 10s. So here we go. Honorable mentions are in no particular order, okay? First up, Lightbringer. So Lightbringer is the most recent in the Red Rising saga. That's right. And I think this is my favorite in the second part of the saga. It really brings to form the emotional gut punches and the here comes the cavalry, and it's just nostalgic and fun. Like if you like the Red Rising trilogy but have been struggling with the newer part of the saga, I think this would probably also be your favorite, but I also like Iron Gold. I know a lot of people don't like Iron Gold. I really like Iron Gold. I don't like Dark Age. That hasn't changed. I don't enjoy Dark Age. It's too dark for me. It's too bleak. It's too bleak for me. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one. And also it was paired with a long buddy read that I did with Alex and Leanna. We never did do a live show for this book. It didn't happen, but that's okay. We have live shows for all the others. Another weird thing, my Should You Read for this series, my best performing video ever. Which for me is not like a large number. Like some people with their best performings, they'll like have 50K or 100K views. This is only 14K. But for me, that's like a big deal. So that's always interesting. And I don't get bad comments on it, which is also interesting. So cool. One that I didn't see on any of my videos when I was looking through, but I'm like, I talk about this book enough that it should be here. And that's New Sons, Volume 2. I've talked about this a lot recently. It's a short story anthology, easily my favorite short story anthology, which is hard to do because by definition, an anthology is going to be works from different authors and you're not going to love every author. But Nisi Shaw, their curation is amazing. Top tier. So I really love it. I love the cover. I love how short it is. I love the types of stories that are put into it. It's great. Next up, Mimicking of Known Successes. This one's a slow grow for me too. I think I did have it on my surprises video. But if you had told 2023 Angela that she would hunt down used copies of the first two books to put with her third and like own physical collection of an audio series, she would have been baffled. And that's where I'm currently at. So yeah, this one's definitely like grown on me a lot and is like one where I get excited whenever I hear about a new installment in the works. This one was the closest to being in the top 10 without being in the top 10. And I still think about if I made a mistake there. But I don't know. It's really hard to say, but this is Vampires of El Norte. Wow, do I love this book. Okay, I really love this book. I mean, but I've only listened to the audiobook and I don't know. This is a horror romance, okay? And I really love that these are childhood friends finding each other again as adults and they have different personalities now and kind of maybe falling in love again while there's civil war and a vampire attack. It's pretty great. I really love it, especially because we get both of their perspectives. The female character, I think her name is Magdalena. I think that's what it is. It's been a minute. But Nasir, I think, is the name of the male love interest, and he is precious. He is both so sweet and so charismatic, but he had to like work to get his charisma, and whenever he's back around her, he like almost loses it, and I just like love that. And I do love chemistry and tension in a high stakes scenario. So yeah, I really like Vampires of El Norte. And the cover, whoever does Isabel Canya's covers, they do a great job. Another horror that I really enjoyed was Lone Woman by Victor LaValle. I just really like Victor LaValle, guys. He does dark horror, fairy tale fantasy a la grim dark style together really well, and this takes place in Montana, I believe. It's one of the M states that's out west. I'm pretty sure it's Montana. And it takes place in a time where people are still cheaply purchasing land to basically bring production and value to it. Homesteading. That's the word. And although homesteading in America, like the history of that is fraught with badness, not only in terms of, in order to homestead, you're taking land from indigenous people. That's, your first bad. Second bad is we aren't using the land in a way that the land can sustainably be used, hence Dust Bowl. There's a lot of bad things when it comes to homesteading. But I love a survival story. So that's the part of homesteading stories I really love. And that was definitely here. And this was a perspective on homesteading you don't usually get to read. This is about how different women from different walks of life, different backgrounds, got to have land and form community with each other. Like, it's called Lone Woman, and the E is not an accident. At least I'm pretty sure it's called Lone Woman and not Lone Woman. Yeah. So it's not about one lone woman. It's about lone women. And I think that's really subtle in the title and like a really strong thematic part of the book. So yeah, I enjoyed Victor LaValle. I will read anything by Victor LaValle. He's just great. Next up, we've got Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing will always be known as the book that I read while stranded during my wedding week in the Panama City airport overnight. What a time. Like I said, 2023 was a time, okay? Fourth Wing, probably still my favorite in that series, although I'm still having fun with it. It's an adventure soap opera fantasy time for me. It's more of a soap opera than a romantasy to me, because I'm really not as invested in the main love interest anymore after the first book. But the first book, it's a good compilation of tropes we all know well. And I like the dragons. And yeah, it doesn't make sense. And it doesn't matter to me. I don't know why. It's probably because I'm putting it into that, like, just melodramatic fantasy space that I put Charmed and Smallville and things like that, where it's like, yeah, none of this makes sense. I'm rewatching Smallville and Charmed. Nothing ever makes sense completely. It's just fun. It's just a fun time. But that's to say, like, you're allowed to have critiques for it. It just doesn't seem to affect me and my enjoyment, which is good for me in terms of continuing on. But I do have a should you read for that series, which is also performing better than I anticipated. This one is the most surprising, especially because as I've continued in dabbling in this subgenre of fantasy, I am failing left and right. But this is Legends and Lattes, arguably the book that truly sprung the cozy fantasy situation. And I read it very scared to read it. And I read it in a day when I came back from a trip. And it was right before I knew I was about to get sick. So it was like this very calm before the storm. But I was also really anxious. And it calmed me down. And I'm really appreciative of any book that can calm me down, which will be a common theme in our top 10. And it was just nice. I really liked it. And I think why I like this cozy fantasy is it because it really doesn't have romance in it. It's truly about building a business. And I love a community-centered business building type story. And that's what this was. And it wasn't that long. I don't like the prequel that much compared to this. That one has more romance in it. This one, though, where we actively had the goal of building this business, I really enjoyed. Next up is Night Crawling, one I haven't thought about in a long time. This is a literary fiction. It was shortlisted for the Booker Award, I believe. If not, for sure longlisted. Author is from Oakland, California. The story is primarily in Oakland, California, and it is heavy and hard. And Night Crawling does not refer to the movie Nightcrawler. It refers to her choosing how to use her body to make ends meet at night. And she's also taking care of this kid in her building. And it's heavy and it's hard and it could be too bleak. But it has enough hope to balance that. And it was so poetic too. I really loved the writing style. Whenever I see this one in the wild, I think about buying a copy. I really do. And I feel like I need to look and see if she has written anything else recently. Because just the writing style and what she chose to focus in. It's kind of like when you find a director you like. It's like, I really liked how you framed the scene. I liked where you focused in on. That's how she felt as an author to me. And I was really interested because I think she might be one of our first big Gen Z authors. I'm not positive if she's millennial or Gen Z. It's probably a border case, as is most people born in the 90s. But it was very good. And then my last for the honorable mentions is Love Theoretically. I think still my favorite Allie Hazelwood. Mainly because this is just the one that's most personal to me. All of her stories are like kind of standard contemporary romance, outlandish. This isn't real life stuff. But the part of this book that's truly real life is how hard it is to get a job in certain academic institutions, how little adjuncts are paid. Like, real talk, adjuncts are paid 50% less than full-time or tenure track. And for the same amount of work. Like if you took, I don't even know how to explain it. I have worked full-time and I have worked adjunct for a year. And the only difference is I've worked 2 extra classes and did 10 hours of office hours a week. And I was paid twice as much. And that's just how it works. It's unfortunate. It's how they keep things working, because when they get funding, they don't prioritize it towards teaching funds. They prioritize it towards new buildings or other things. I'm not in charge of that. I'm not a dean. I'm not up there. And so that part of the story really resonated with me. It was actually a book that made me so sad in the middle that I ended up finally looking into, can I afford a therapist right now? Because of how close it hit to home. So yeah, and then just outside of that, I just thought it was fun. Like, I read it in a day, which is usually what I want from a contemporary romance. So that was the extra sauce for that one. So let's do our top 10, which is roughly in an order. It feels like the reasonable order. I could be wrong. It's about right. Starting with The Sentence by Louise Erdrich. I really like Louise Erdrich. So this is one that we were supposed to read for a book club. And I did, but then I was too sick to go to book club. So I never got to go to the book club, which would have been fun because I feel like they had a fascinating discussion and not everyone liked it as much as I did. And I would have really liked to have seen that. But that said, I really liked it. It's obviously Louise Erdrich's COVID book. And in 2023, I was ready for a COVID book. I think it really worked. It definitely has some autofiction and some things that are very much not autofiction. Like the main character is not Louise Erdrich, but the main character does work in a bookstore that's obviously inspired by the bookstore Louise Erdrich owns and things like that. And it's in a part of the country where not only do we have COVID, but we have one of the inciting events for Black Lives Matter in 2020. And so it's just dealing with all of that in the way that Louise Erdrich does best, by making community. And I just love her. And I like this book. So that's why it's one of my top 10 of that year. The other one is a literary fiction. It was a Booker winner, Girl, Woman, Other. It really adds fuel to the fire of how much I dislike the Testaments, which is also a video that keeps doing well. That I think about turning off the comments all the time. And then I heard there's going to be a TV show for the Testaments. And I'm like, why? Because basically every time there's a new season of Handmaid's Tale, that video gets a bump, which is, I guess, nice because some money, not like an outlandish amount of money, but some. But anyways, Girl, Woman, Other. So remember how I said that I really appreciate a book that can help calm me down when I'm anxious? This book. I don't know why. It's full of heavy things. It's full of people going through stuff, but I think it's the writing style. I think the writing style was just completely immersive. And if I can be immersed in this, then I'm not immersed in my anxiety headspace. I think that's what it was. But this was sometime in February. I was having an awful time. That entire week was just not good for my health. Just such heightened heart rates and anxiety, probably high blood pressure. I don't know. But when I got out of work and I would sit at the train station bench, I would take out this book and I could just fall into it. It's interconnected short story vignettes, so it's just my style. I love that. I don't know a lot about what it's like to be Black in Britain. And I feel like this was a great starting point in terms of just fictional narratives of different girls, women, and other, because there is I believe, non-binary, or I don't remember if they're a trans woman or if they're a non-binary individual, but there is a trans character in the stories. And they do kind of intersect. And I just enjoyed it. Like I said, it's just the writing style. So this is a lot like the Nightcrawling author. I need to see if there have been other things written by them because I really like the style. This other book also was somehow not on any of my other lists. I feel like, did I just not do a short fiction list that year and just not include those books on anything? But this is Drinking from Graveyard Wells, one of my favorite short story collections of all time. I have 4 or 5, and this is one of them. I finally bought a paperback copy for myself. This is a Zimbabwean author. Almost all of these are 4.5 to 5 stars. Truly, such a stellar collection. Some of them are more overtly sci-fi or horror. Some of them are just contemporary. I love them. So yeah, this is an easy collection for me to recommend to people. I only read it because of the Ursula K. Le Guin Award in Fiction. 2023 was also my first year for reading the entire shortlist, which was very fun. And I've been kind of doing that ever since to varying degrees. And then our next one is also from the Ursula K. Le Guin Award in Fiction. This was the winner of that year, and that's Arboreality, which I've also talked to you guys about recently. I love this book. It's a very short, interconnected short story sort of thing, where we're basically spending 100 years after a big climate disaster, and how we end up on the other end, what that looks like, what has been lost, what has been gained. And I like that type of climate science fiction right now. All right. This one was one that used to be on my surprises list, but is now on my favorites because goodness have I not started raving about it, thinking about it, championing it, even though understandably not everybody likes it. Ryan, one of those people that doesn't like it. Our Share of Night. This is just my type of horror, man. I just really like it. Every time someone's reading it, I'm like, oh, what chapter are you in? It's long. Arguably too long. I'm not going to die on a hill and say it's the perfect length. But I feel like being indulgent in a slow burn horror, it's not my fault people feel free to do it. Look what Stephen King does all the time, and we all know he doesn't earn every page he writes. So, And I just really loved all the subgenres you kind of get in here. I loved learning about Argentina in the 20th century because I feel like that was a very fun historical contemporary part of this narrative. You have the naive children. There's so many layers to it, and it's one I'm really excited to revisit And so this is just like a slow burn growing one where it's like objectively it's not a 5-star read, but it's a favorite of all time. And so there it is. This next one probably wasn't on any of my favorites list because I read it in December, but it's Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Woo! That was a book that I could not put down. It's probably is it my favorite in the Part of Your World series? I'll have to decide. I'll only put one of them in the tier ranking, whether it's just for the summer or Yours Truly. But man, I love this series. I truly do. This one has a character who's dealing with a failed relationship, a failed family formation sort of thing, struggles in her family life with health issues in her family. And then the other character is an anxious individual. And they fake date for a while. I don't remember why. I love a fake date scenario. And of course they fall for each other. And I just really enjoyed it. I really like Abby Jimenez's building of tension. It doesn't even matter to me that she doesn't really do open door that much. There's just so much good layered tension and good like human building stuff that I enjoy. All right, and these next three are truly like, oh my god, favorites of all time. Let's see if I can get the order. All right, I think number 3 is Whoa, I missed one. Sorry, I got to Yours Truly too fast. We're not getting to the top 3 yet. Number 4 is My Heart is a Chainsaw. Is this my favorite in the Indian Lake trilogy? I don't know, but I loved reading this. Jade Daniels is a favorite character. I think something that I've been noticing over the years is it's been harder to find characters that I love. I found a few this year, which is nice, but Jade Daniels, oh. And like, I was talking to my friend Tammy about this because she started reading it and she loves it. And I think there are kind of 2 general experiences. My experience that some people have where they love Jade Daniels. And then another one where it's like, why are we learning so much about other slasher films? I don't want to know about all these things. I do not care. It's too much. And obviously there's a whole host of other opinions, but those are like big buckets that I see. And for me, it's like, I do like slasher films. I don't know all of them. Like I've never seen Halloween and stuff like that. But I think what I love is that Jade Daniels is a character who is very passionate about something. And I have so many friends, I am that friend who is very hyper passionate about a specific thing. I cannot tell you how often I've had to try and not talk about the new Superman film with so many people in my life recently. Like I get very locked in. I mean, that's why I have a YouTube channel to talk about books. So to see a character who is also very passionate about a very specific niche, I love that. That's a fascinating individual to be with, even if I don't like that hyperfixation. You're gonna tell me you don't have a friend who has a hyperfixation about a thing that you don't care about, but like you love their energy around it? Yeah. So that's one of the things I love about My Heart is a Chainsaw, but also the pacing. And I know some people don't like the pacing, but I liked getting to know the community, and I really like the ebbs and flows throughout the series. And where that trilogy goes, I have a Should You Reads for it. It is stellar. So now the top 3. We're going to start with Fool's Assassin, which is the 3rd to last book in Realm of the Elderlings. It's the first one in the Fits and the Fools trilogy. And I just couldn't put it down. This is such a good book for like exploring grief. Like incredibly good. Maybe one of the primary examples I would give someone. Unfortunately, you can't really read it unless you've read other books in the series. This isn't like your jumping in book or anything like that. But it worked incredibly well for me. And I don't know what else I can say. I loved the second point of view we got that I wasn't anticipating. And yeah, this is just like show-stopping. It was easily the highlight of this trilogy for me. All right, what's number 2? All right, I think this is definitely based off more recency biased than it is based off how I felt in 2023, but that's the whole point of updating these lists. So Wall of Storms is number 2. I read 3 of the Dandelion Dynasty books in 2023, the last 3. And Wall of Storms, easily my favorite. It's my type of fantasy. It's why I read fantasy. The first 300 pages were absolutely unputdownable for me. It's very different from The Grace of Kings. And I'm not going to be like, oh, if you don't like The Grace of Kings, you should try Wall of Storms. What I would say is if you liked Grace of Kings, but you didn't love it, and you're not sure if you're down for the rest of this long series, give the first 300 pages of Wall of Storms a try. And you'll know within the first part if it does have the sauce for you, you know? But I don't actually think Wall of Storms is so good that if you hate Grace of Kings, it's going to turn it around. Yeah, because I do think at its core, like, the project is still the project of the series. I love the Dandelion Dynasty, but Wall of Storms specifically, it plays with genre conventions in such satisfying ways. It works really well for me. I can't really talk about it much without spoiling it, but it was just, just the injustice in academic settings and characters trying to be the best. Just like the unsettling feeling of shit hitting the fan. Oh, so good. And then Cordelia's Honor, because I'm just going to cheat, and I'm going to use the compilation of Shards of Honor and Barriar here. This is the beginning of Verkosigan for me. This is where it all began. Yeah, it took me 2 years, but it was a great 2 years to finish that series. And goodness, do I love Verkosigan. And it all starts here with Cordelia's Honor. It's where I do recommend people start. I do now have a Verkosigan Should You Read video that you can look at. But what can I say? I just love this sci-fi series. I love how episodic it is. I love the world building. I love the characters. But Joel's writing style is just, it works. It's butter in my brain. I just love it. So yeah, another long video in the books about stuff. And like I said, the next time I do a video on this, we're gonna figure out my top 10 reads since being on Booktube. One way or another, that's happening. I just don't know what they're gonna be. It's going to make my brain bleed. Just a little bit, but it's okay. Let me know what you think. What do you remember about 2023, either with my channel or in your life? If you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here. Ooh, I don't know. Let's leave a storm for Wall of Storms, because I don't know what to do for Cordelia's Honor. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.